Hello, and welcome to the Argyle HR Leadership Forum. My name is Nick with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. A couple of notes before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during today's event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page. To ask questions throughout the session, simply type into the Q&A chat, and we will address your questions at the end of the session. Now, without further delay, I would like to introduce our speaker, Amy Kilbreath, Chief Recruiting Media Strategist, consultant to Fortune 100 companies like Wells Fargo and UPS. We're super excited to have Amy with us for a keynote presentation titled Transforming Talent Acquisition, the Game-Changing Ad Tech Trends of 2024. Welcome, Amy. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Nick. I appreciate it. And I am super excited to chat with all of you today about the demise of third-party cookies and the rise of AI in media and how it will affect your TA efforts. And by doing so, I want to start with four what I find startling statistics that I wanted to share with you to give you kind of a feel of the context of why you need to care about this. First, 41% of US marketers feel that the demise of third-party cookies this year will be their biggest challenge in the coming years. 1/3 of marketers don't believe that they'll be confidently able to reach their target audience without the use of third-party cookies. And only half of marketers are currently prepared for the loss of third-party cookie data, with close to 32% of companies having done nothing to prepare yet. Now, on the topic of AI, 2/3 of marketers believe that AI will have a serious impact on their industry, with 18% saying that it's already happening. Now, I'm guessing you're probably wondering, why should I care? Why should HR and TA care about this? Well, really, recruiting is marketing. It's advertising. It's selling the right job to the right person at the right time. And your team's ability to reach the widest, most diverse, most talented pool of candidates is really what's going to determine the future and the health of your company. So the demise of these third-party cookies and the rise of AI is going to affect your team's ability to communicate and reach those people. So you're probably also wondering, who is this person and why is she able to speak to my team about these topics? So for the past 20 years, I've had the privilege of working in marketing and advertising. I cut my teeth at great companies like Starbucks and Disney, iHeart. But really where I found my passion was about 10 years ago, when I just exclusively focused in working with TA teams on their recruitment marketing needs. Wells Fargo, UPS, pretty much any industry, shape, size of a company, I've had the privilege of sitting with their team and helping them determine how advertising can help their recruitment efforts. So you're probably also wondering at this point, my team really doesn't use advertising. Why does this apply to me? And I would like to challenge you, because your team, your talent acquisition team, does advertise. In fact, according to Content Stadium, 98%, and I think from my experience, this is a very conservative stat, 98% of talent acquisition professionals rely on job posting, or putting posting the job openings, on social media and online job boards. That's advertising. It's all powered by third-party cookies, and those options are being affected by new AI technology. So I'm going to ask you a question. Is your team ready? So the purpose of today's discussion is really to help inform you so you can guide your team, guide your own personal efforts as we move through these changes. First, what is a third-party cookie? So a third-party cookie is pretty much just data that is being stored about you and your online habits by a website that is different than the one that you are visiting. Think of it if you're planning a trip to Jamaica. Suddenly on your Facebook, you see an ad for a Jamaican hotel. When you go to Amazon, you start to see ads for swimsuits. It feels a little Big Brother-ish, right? So that is the third-party cookie that is fueling that. It's storing your demographic information, your search history, your browsing habits, your location, and it's all designed so companies can sell ads to you and get you to buy things. Cookies are used in everything from display to programmatic advertising to search engine results to even social media. They do it to target, to use it in attribution, retargeting, measurement, personalization, even frequency caps. And job boards use third-party cookies too. They use it for cross-site tracking, retargeting. It really is pervasive throughout media. Now, I do want to say that this is different than first-party cookies. First-party cookies are not being affected, and first-party cookies are, say you're on a Nordstrom website shopping. When you've accepted their cookies, they have the permission then to keep whatever you have in your cart for the next visit, retain your browsing history with the clothing. That is all first-party cookie. You've given your permission, and that's not being affected. So what is happening to these third-party cookies, and what's the time frame, and why is it all happening? For years, there have been pushes for privacy from consumer groups, from even governments. Europe's way ahead of us on this, and they really want to push for consumer privacy. There have been browsers that have already followed the demand for privacy. Firefox and Safari, they've already eliminated all of their third-party cookies. However, Google has not. And Google, as you see here on the slide, they are the vast majority of global users. They have 65% of the global browser share, and they have 62% of the mobile browser share. And when you look at that in hard numbers, 3.2 billion users. It's mind-boggling that that many people are unknowingly having their personal information stored by third-party cookies. So what is Google going to do about it? What have they agreed to do? So this has been something that's been in the works for a while. They've pushed it back a few times, but they did make good this past January, and they disabled third-party cookies for 1% of their users. 30 million. So that's a pretty good chunk. It's a test, it's a trial. They do plan on eliminating third-party cookies by the end of the year. Now, I don't mean to sound cynical, but we are heading into probably the largest political advertising season in history. 12 some billion dollars are forecasted to be spent in advertising. So I'm hopeful that they will abide by their end of the year deadline to erase the other 99%, but it is a big deal. And as you can see by this slide, it's going to affect marketing efforts. Nearly 2/3 of marketers say that programmatic advertising will be less effective without the use of third-party cookies. And then it's not going away though. People are just holding on to any last little bit of remnant chance that they have to use third-party cookies in their advertising. Even just 3 months ago, 78% conservatively of programmatic digital ad campaigns were still using third-party cookies, and the sales aren't stopping, they're just increasing. So what should your TA teams do? Or you as a TA professional, what should you do? First, in your outreach to candidates, hear the public when they say they value their privacy. Make sure that you show respect for your candidates' privacy when you deal with them online. And almost as importantly, too, you need to proactively talk with your TA teams to just do kind of an audit of your recruitment outreach of sourcing when you use advertising. What platforms are they using? Are those being affected by third-party cookies? And if so, start prepping alternatives. Now, third, those alternatives can also be as you expand your recruitment media mix. Start experimenting with media that does not use third-party cookies. This could be CTV, It could be online audio streaming and podcasts, mobile geofencing. So really, there are still a whole host of media tactics that are at your disposal that do not use third-party cookies. And really, if you expand your media outreach, it will result in a more diverse talent pool, because let's face it, most times we all get a little lazy and we do the post and pray when it comes to posting job openings. We put it on our Facebook, put it on our LinkedIn, and a job board. But you're hitting the same people over and over again. If you added in a display geofencing campaign or an audio streaming campaign, just think of the diversity that you're adding into your recruitment outreach. So it's a really nice side benefit of trying to insulate from the third-party cookies going away. Also, you have some time left in 2024. So use that time to maybe do some A/B testing of your recruitment media strategies. Keep doing your third-party cookie programmatic display, but then bring in something else and do some A/B testing to see what learnings you can obtain in the time that you have left. And also, you have a huge wealth of data at your disposal. Strengthen up your first-party databases. So when candidates reach out to you, make sure that you are having conversations. You have their text numbers, their mobile numbers, their emails. Make sure you really take care to fill up that first-party data for your company and start having those conversations so you don't have to rely so much on other options. And lastly, please remember, 70% are passive job seekers. They're at that top of the funnel. So if we're doing the post and pray, we're just hitting the lowest part of the funnel. So you really want to, as third-party cookies start to go away and you can't specifically target just granularly to these talent segments, make sure that you're using that opportunity to brand your entire company, get that EVP out there. Now, what other factors are going to be coming at your TA team as these third-party cookies go away? You're going to have to be prepared for some ambiguity, because even though the targeting will be affected in your TA outreach campaigns using media, there's no universally accepted substitution right now. It's all a little bit of trial and error for everybody, but the new approaches, as I have listed there, will likely rely on first-party data. First-party data is going to be king as we move forward. Contextual targeting, lookalike audiences, will most likely be replacing where third-party cookies came in. But I also want to say, we have to be careful about the possibility of first-party data empires being created by this. So since there'll be such big reliance on first-party data in advertising, that means more power, more pricing control, more access will be controlled by fewer companies. So think Meta, Apple, Google, all of these places are first-party data powerhouses. So we just want to be a little careful on how much reliance we put our talent advertising reliance on them. And we're also going to be needing to be prepared for AI to kind of step in and fill the gap of where third-party cookies have left. So with mention of AI, how is the rise of AI in media going to affect your TA team? Well, as I mentioned, it's going to be looked to step in to fill the gap where the third-party cookies have left off. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but for the TA teams that rely heavily on paid online search, that's going to be the tactic that is most dramatically affected in the near term. And why do I say that? So the online search results that are paid, they're going to be replaced already by what we're seeing with chatbots. Gen I is going to be just revolutionizing the accuracy, the targeting, the personalization of paid search results. they're also going to be eliminated because the non-paid results are going to be more accurate and served up front with fewer options to scroll through. But most of the impact is going to be from voice AI, with smart speakers, with people relying more on a verbal relationship with their technology. The voice AI is going to repeat back the search results that they need, thus eliminating all of the paid online search options. You'll also want to kind of keep in mind that browsers aren't going to be the end all for paid search either, because we're starting to see more and more people rely on YouTube and TikTok for getting their information. So just kind of keep in mind as you're placing your buys, the paid search, that you're going to need to expand and diversify that strategy. Now, this one, MFA, I know it sounds like a swear word, but it actually stands for made for advertising. Now, AI, because it's so easy to create content, it's going to make MFA content online more prevalent. And for those of you who use display ads in your talent acquisition strategy, you're going to want to make sure that your team eliminates MFA sites from your buy, because it's really just kind of remnant inventory that anybody from anywhere can use their ChatGPT to create a website for the purpose of just placing display ads. Oftentimes, the brand safety is going to be questionable on some of these. It's just not going to be the content that your company is going to want to be associated with. So as AI makes the made for advertising content more prevalent online, please make sure that your TA team does eliminate that from your buys. So what do you do? Like tangible, what should your TA teams do? Understand that candidates are going to want more personalized interactions with you in your outreach, in your advertising. That's how their day-to-day is being crafted right now. AI is personalizing everything for them. So they are going to expect your job posting, your job offer information ad to be more personalized to them, what's in it for them. But at the same point, it's also going to be more difficult to get a true, authentic candidate interaction going due to AI. I know that you're probably seeing all resumes being generated from AI. I even had a recruiter friend who was doing a Zoom interview, and the candidate would type in the interview question into ChatGPT, and then she'd just read it back to the interviewer. So we want to make sure that AI is used well. It can be used in ad creation as well for your team if you're lacking creative resources. But make sure that you don't just take the easy route. So right now we're seeing a lot of AI generated programmatic job listing networks being offered to TA teams. Kind of you post it one place and then AI takes care of posting it everywhere else. Now, it seems to be a real easy turnkey option, and there are lots of upsides to it, but be careful because it is a very crowded market. AI, you know, there could be some sensitivities about the possible appearance of a stereotype of jobs being served to a candidate. So we just want to make sure that we're aware of the bias in the possibilities of this network, as well as privacy sensitivities. And AI right now just isn't fully nuanced enough to understand all the different intricacies of every job posting. So just use it judiciously and make sure you keep an eye on it. You're also going to want to make sure that your first party data is pristine, because if you start to use AI in your outreach, your media efforts, you really want to make sure that your data that you're allowing AI to access is pristine. And remember the entire candidate funnel, as we mentioned, but we'll also want to prepare for future privacy and ethics issue. AI is not immune to it. It's probably even scarier than third-party cookies in a lot of respects. So just kind of keep that on the radar as you start to put more and more reliance on AI for your outreach. So as we kind of start to wrap this up, the key takeaways that I want to make sure to leave with you. Your talent team is advertising. It really is. Just the nature of their job. They are advertising. They're selling the right job to the right person at the right time. And at least 98% of them are using some sort of advertising when they post it to their Facebook, LinkedIn, or the job boards. And your ability to reach just the best talent pool possible, the most experienced, the most qualified, is going to be affected. It's going to be limited in some ways by the elimination of third-party cookies and the rise of AI in media. So proactively plan now. Please have those discussions with your TA team. Figure out how you want to corporately address the demise of the third-party cookies and AI being more prevalent, and just have the discussions about how that's going to affect their sourcing. And always, please reach out with questions. I'm happy to help. And speaking of that, I'm going to open up our chat box and see if I can help answer some questions here. Okay, so good question. Is the third-party cookie block a national thing or a state-by-state thing? So third-party cookies are going to go away on a global basis when Google Chrome does what we just talked about. So Google Chrome is eliminating everything on a global scale. Up until this point, the UK, different parts of Europe, even different states have had privacy legislation be activated that affects their footprint. But really, on a global scale, the third-party cookies are going away this year, as we outlined. Let's see here. Okay, aren't all ads the same for recruiting? What can really differentiate us from the competitors? Okay, so I think there's a few different elements to this answer. Number one, your company has its EVP, its unique selling proposition of why you're the best place for that specific candidate to work there. So I think that if you really hone in on your EVP and relay that, it's going to definitely set yourself apart from the mass of people that are just saying, come work for us, $16 an hour. They really want to see that EVP. You're also going to want to differentiate yourself by the media mix that you use in the ads for recruiting. So if you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, as we talked about with Facebook or Indeed, LinkedIn, everybody's doing that. So you're not standing apart from the competition in that way. So I challenge you to diversify your media mix, as we talked about. Try an audio ad on Spotify. See how that affects your results and the different types of leads that you're getting, because it's not only the content of the ad that can differentiate yourself, but it's the placement of the ad. And then probably lastly, you really want to target everybody in kind of a 360-degree approach, because if somebody is doing a serious next step for their life, such as applying for a job, that's a big deal. It's a big stressor. It affects every part of their life. They're not going to take that lightly. So the more times that you can hit them, say they hear about your company while they're listening to Spotify, they see your ad when they're watching Hulu, they hear about your company when they're listening to a traffic report on the radio. The more touch points that you have, the more likely you are to get a good result, because they keep hearing it in different parts of their lives, and it will sink in, and it will result in hopefully an application from a great candidate. Okay, let's see here. What is the greatest challenge you see companies struggle with in terms of talent acquisition and how it can be overcome? That's a big one. I think it would probably need more than the couple minutes that I have left here in the seminar. But as far as my personal aspect of talent acquisition that I help companies with. I think that talent scarcity is one of the biggest challenges that I help clients with. Either they're not getting enough candidates or they're not getting the right candidates. And that can definitely be frustrating, and it can be a cost drain, because the longer that those positions go unfilled, or the more people that you have to go through with attrition, it's just a profit killer for your company. So as far as what I do, making sure that we get you the qualified and a high quantity of really talented, perfectly fit candidates. That's, I think, the biggest challenge that I see companies struggling with right now. All right, I think those are all the questions. So Nick, unless there's something that I missed, I'd love to hand it back to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for such an incredible keynote. I also want to thank everyone else for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. This officially concludes the Argyle HR Leadership Forum, Tech and Talent Strategies for Workforce Success. Thank you again for joining us today and engaging in our content.